Hey girls and boys, thanks for tuning in and a very late Happy New Year. Today we're playing the Satsuma in Ranked. I have no idea if that's the right way to pronounce her name, so apologies in advance in case I'm butchering it. Let's take a look at my commander build and upgrades. Nothing special to see here, it's what I consider a standard tank build, same goes for the upgrades. I think a tank build works just best on slow and massive battleships like Yamato and Satsuma, which are really easy to hit and don't have a secondary battery worthy of improvement, so the whole point of setting them up like this is to mitigate as much damage as possible. Personally, I kinda like Satsuma, although I'm really not much of a BB player. Her alpha strike potential is just enormous and the sound of her guns is absolutely amazing. Since I don't own a Shikishima, it's nice that I finally get to experience this sound myself. What's also really nice about Satsuma is the adjustment fire mechanic. If you land enough shells close to the enemy, the bar to the bottom of your screen will completely fill and you get improved accuracy for 25 seconds, which is unfortunately not enough for 2 salvos initially. But if you time its usage properly, you can get rewarded with at least 1 devastating salvo and likely even 2 if your hit points get low enough, provided you run Adrenaline Rush on your commander. Admittedly, I kinda suck at using it. For whatever reason, I tend to hit the F key usually like 1 second too early, so I might miss out on an accurate follow-up salvo from time to time, but we'll see if it matters in this battle. What does matter though is battleship positioning, and I was really pissed when I found out that my Yamato was going exactly where I wanted to go. With only 2 BBs per side and considering her spawn, the logical choice for her would have been to head east, but no, she decided to cut in front of me, which means that I have to step in for her now, and it will take my back turrets ages to rotate to the correct direction. It's not a super massive deal, but still very annoying because unlike Yamato, 50% of Satsuma's firepower is located in the back, and if you get an early spot on something, you really want to be using all your turrets. So we do have some promising targets here already. Both the Stalingrad and the Yoshino are presenting pretty nice broadsides. If I had to choose between a perfectly broad Stalin and a perfectly broad Yoshino, I would always target the Stalingrad because she's usually the more dangerous opponent. However, it looked like she was already turning in, so we shot the Yoshino instead. I think I aimed a little bit too high here, but we still got a 23k salvo. Surely this guy will start accelerating now and turn away, right? Both Yoshino and Stalin have equally squishy broadsides, so you really want to make sure to not expose them to 20-inch guns. But as you can see, the Yoshino keeps reversing, and the question is, can we punish her behavior a little harder this time? I think this counts as a yes. In the meantime, the Stalin slipped away into cover and now we have a Thunderer in front of us. Thunderer with her 32mm plating is of course prone to being overmatched basically anywhere by Satsuma, so I would happily trade with her. But the enemy Hindenburg is about to rush the Alpha or Bravo cap respectively, so we are going to turn our attention towards her instead. I really don't mind shooting the Hindenburg rather than the Thunderer. Again, we can overmatch almost all parts of her hull, apart from a tiny section of her bow and of course her turrets, so let's see if we can get a good salvo. Apparently she changed her mind and started going backwards, but bow tanking is not really an option if you're facing a Satsuma or almost any other T10 BB as a cruiser, given how prevalent overmatch is these days. We lost the Smolensk and our Yoshino, though our accuracy gimmick is ready and the Hindenburg is still out in the open, so maybe we can create a level playing field in a few moments. We get decent damage since the Hindenburg was slightly angled. I didn't want to hit her belt and instead the upper section of her hull, but I'm not sure if I aimed correctly. Maybe it would have been better to aim slightly lower and a little bit further behind. Regardless, with the next salvo we should be able to finish the German cruiser off. She's slowly crawling behind the island, but we can still shoot over it. This has to be the kill shot. But nope, only 2 shells connect. And we leave the Hindenburg on 900 HP. Very frustrating because no one else has an angle to shoot her. And she's not even detected anymore. I could have asked for radar here, but I was already preparing to turn away and moved forward because I didn't want to sit in front of the Shimakaze any longer. Turning away means of course exposing my broadside to the Stalingrad, but I think it's the lesser of 2 evils. I'm gonna use a suboptimal heal here because I'm afraid of taking a devastating AP salvo from the Stalin, but apparently she's taking her sweet time to turn around as well. You can't see it yet, but she's doing a 180 and will only fire HE from her back turret at our position. So this heal was kinda wasted, but it's not the end of the world since we have 3 more charges. At the moment I don't have a clear picture of where I want to go for now. I just wanted to get out of the way of potential torpedoes. It would be nice to finally get rid of the Hindenburg, but she's gonna be behind cover now. There's another Stalingrad that's moving up the 4 line, so I think I'll try to get into a position where I can counter her if she decides to push past the island. I hope my Yamato and my Salem are prepared to get moving in case the Stalingrad really flanks us, because they are completely broadside, and once she passes the island, she would only need a few salvos to kill both of them. The Salem seems to be aware of the threat because she's using her radar to keep the Stalingrad lit. Unfortunately, there are torpedoes coming aimed at the Yamato and the American cruiser, and because the Salem started to angle versus the Stalin, it means she's now broadside to the torpedoes and gets death struck by the Shimakaze. The Stalin started to angle steeply, but we still got a lucky citadel hit. Now that she's pointing her bow towards us, we will be aiming for the upper part of her nose, because the 25mm plating above her icebreaker can be overmatched even by 15-inch guns. My Yamato is still happily presenting her broadside, so of course the Stalingrad is focusing on her now. Meanwhile, I'm being farmed by the Hindenburg over the island, and I'm taking quite some damage because my angling is far from perfect. However, I don't want to turn away even more and prefer to keep going to the north, because I'm hoping that the Hindenburg will make a mistake and we might be able to get a line of sight to her, maybe by means of using our spotter plane or with the help of the Petro. As long as the Stalin is occupied with our Yamato, we get to shoot her for free, though I don't think we can kill her before she deletes our Japanese ally, but hopefully we can trade before she gets to shoot us as well. This salvo here should do the trick. I was kind of aiming for superstructure pens here because I didn't want to risk bouncing off her icebreaker or upper belt, and it's enough to sink her, but of course we lost our Yamato in the process. If you take a look at the Charlie cap, you'll see that our Shima is engaged in a fight with the enemy Shima and the other Stalingrad, and I don't think that's going to end well, and before you know it, the game turned into a 2 versus 4. Hopefully our Petro can spot the Hindenburg soon. There she is. She's still reversing and healed up to 15k. We really need to kill her this time. I hope I aimed correctly. She started going forward, but my shells catch her just in time. 2 versus 3 is more manageable, but honestly, with the enemy Shima being alive, the enemies have such a massive spotting advantage here. We are already behind on points, the Charlie cap will be flipped anytime soon, and all the Shima needs to do is spot, while the Stalin can just safely sit behind the cover of the islands at sea and farm us with impunity. Frankly, I'm already in star-saving mode. I don't see any reason to turn around anymore when the only options are either to be crossfired or torped to death. In hindsight, I'm gonna repair one fire here like a potato, but I was concerned about preserving the little remaining hit points that I had, and of course it's going to backfire. Although the Stalin keeps mismanaging her concealment, the presence of the Satsuma prevents me from turning all my guns towards the Russian cruiser. In fact, I wasn't expecting the Stalingrad to reveal herself so frequently, otherwise I would have tried to engage her at least with my back turrets. But now that I'm shifting my attention and risk getting one shot by the Satsuma, the Stalin of course refrains from shooting outside of cover. We already suffered from a full duration permafire, but trust me, there's more to come. Remember kids, never put out a single fire. At least the Satsuma missed us, but all things considered, it's looking pretty hopeless at the moment. The Petro is coming back to assist, but only a serious misplay by the enemies can save us at this point. Speaking of misplays though, the Stalin is actually leaving the safety of the islands. Once again we missed the opportunity to shoot, but maybe the Petro landed a few good hits on her. In any case, the Stalin shouldn't be firing at all at the moment, given that she's broadside to me and the Petro, but of course the greed kicks in and she opens up again. She already lost 15k to the Petro. Can we deal another 15k to finish her off? Yes, one Citadel hit is enough to destroy her. What an incredible misplay by the Stalingrad. Now we might have a chance to come back. Obviously, the Shima is capturing Alpha and Bravo right now, our Petro is raiding her, and luckily the Satsuma moved to the only spot where she can't support her DD. I want you to pay close attention to the minimap. The Shima already threw 2 sets of torpedoes at the Petro, and she could have escaped via the channel between the 2 islands in the cap by now, but what looked like she was going for a rush on the Petro with her last set will end up in her reversing in front of the Russian cruiser, possibly because she is about to run aground. Now, unless the Petro makes a horrible mistake, the Shima should be a free kill. I've seen people walk gratuitously into the torpedo angle of other ships, but it looks like she knows what she's doing. With the Shima being defeated, this leaves only quote-unquote the enemy Satsuma to deal with, but of course she's still a real threat to me and the Petro, especially considering I'm out of heals. But what looked like certain defeat now turned into a pretty advantageous situation. If the Petro pushes up, she will have free access to the broadside of my Japanese counterpart, and hopefully we can make short work of her together. My shells are in the air, almost a 20k salvo, not bad. Satsuma's secondaries opening up shows that she does have a clear line of sight to the Petro now, and vice versa. She took a massive hit and it should only be a matter of time until we sink her. My follow-up salvo is out while she takes another big hit by the Petro. If we get lucky, my shells should land just in time to secure the kill, and they do. Oh boy! What a comeback and a great combined effort by the two of us. Unfortunately, achievements are disabled for super ships, so we don't get a Kraken, but I think we can agree that we technically deserved one. Shout out to the Petro player. After all, good teammates in rank do exist, although they are very rare. And that's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching. I hope to catch you next time. See you soon and take care.